Hey everybody, Richie Architect here. Got a quick video here today regarding structural trusses. I'm doing a residential addition project, and my structural engineer, came back and said, "Oh, we should do roof trusses here." So I put some roof trusses in this project, and I use this as an opportunity to. I really didn't understand trusses too much. Worked with them here and there, but they were always just kind of like cumbersome to deal with. And an issue came up where I was trying to set these trusses. I don't know, you might not be able to tell here, but it's a heel truss, but it's a small heel truss. So I got this one truss from. Oh, there we go. This is an Autodesk out of the box. You can insert this family, this Warren with cambered top chord truss 6-panel family, which is essentially a heel truss. So I went through, set the truss, and was having some difficulties because it looks like if as I mouse over this, I couldn't get the dimensions to be what I needed them to be. Like I had the roof turned off here. You can see these dark black lines I use as kind of different outlines. Like the top of this right here, this line here was the actual height of the roof, the very top. But then if you subtract the plywood and all that stuff, this black line here I had to use as a easier. I didn't have to do this, but it was just easier to kind of hide the roof, but have these lines as a reference to then set the truss to the actual heights that I needed it to be. But then if you go in here, there we go. And you look at the properties. I have like a model group and everything, so that's why things are grayed out. But like truss height here, 6'3", truss height 1, which is the heel at 9 inches. But I had to actually calculate different dimensions from that. So I had the 6'3", but then I had to kind of subtract, let's say, 1 3/4 inches from the bottom, because that's a 2x6, and in theory 1 3/4 inches from the top. Whatever that dimension ended up being, and then I got to the 6'3". So got it to all work. A lot of things I could find videos wise was like kind of after the fact. Once the truss is set, how you clean up all those connections, coping everything to make, in this case, this wood truss to be pretty clean. But I'm going to switch over now, because that was kind of the problem. Again, I made it work, but I realized this is the same truss family. I just drew one in this empty project, and again, everything's centered. If I go through here, let's say, if I adjust the height, adjust the truss to, let's say, 4 feet, everything kind of moves together. I didn't clean up the connections. You can see they're still all there. But let's just say if I did 6 foot, and I think it was 9 inches on mine, again, I can still do it pretty much to that. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger in this case. Let's just go 10 and 4. But the one thing I realized was, I want the top chord to be aligned with the top of the top chord to align with the location line of the truss, and the bottom chord to do the same thing. So I was if I click on here, I was messing with all these different, bearing chord center, all that different stuff. And I realized it's much simpler for this. So if you just window this, and I'm just going to do a quick filter so I don't have the trusses selected. And if you unpin all the truss elements, you could still, as long as you don't remove the truss family from it, like if I just adjust this again, let's say to 12 and all this, everything is still going to move. So, but since everything is actually unpinned, what you can do now is, you can see I can select this and then adjust the framing, the individual members framing. So in this case, with the top chord, I can change the justification now of this to top, and now that's going to align with the location line of the truss. Same deal with this. Again, you have to kind of tab through, but if I go to the bottom for the bottom chord, now it's going to adjust to it. And if I adjust the height, again, I'll go 14 feet. Sorry. 145 feet. But yeah, it adjusts there. I mean, I'm sure if I go like this, yep, it's still going to stay the same in terms of the span. And then the only other thing is the web members here on the end. You just have to kind of, it might be top, I think, on this side. Yep, and then it would be bottom on the other. Bottom. Let's go make that bottom. And now they're all aligned. If I mouse over, it's all that. And then you can do your extensions. Like, so for example, if I have a, this might be, oh, nope. Jeez, come on, 2. Make that 0. You know, if there's like a roof overhang in terms of these, what was that, start? So this will be the opposite, yeah. And then if I select, actually I can just window this and then filter out, check none, filter the web pieces. And if I just put, let's just say, I'll just do, since I've been doing 2 feet, you can go through and now you can do your coping, which is, I think, this and then this, right? Yeah. And you could go through and, doesn't it have, hold on, is it on the truss settings? No. I think you have to select, yeah, coping distance. Let's just make that 1/64. So it's, you know, real close. And again, even now that I've coped this one here, let me cope another, hold on, we'll cope this guy. We'll have to go through and do that. But if I create this, or select the truss, and let's just change the heel height. It still is coped. You know, obviously, if I want to go through here, let's say 3 inches. Oop, that's the other one. You have that, and I could go through and show you the rest. But it's, again, you can now change. That's how you change the justification of the members. You don't change the justification members in the truss settings. You have to unpin the element and then change the justification there. But it's still, I'm going to say, quote unquote, pinned to the truss as long as you don't remove that. If you remove that, then your that kind of ability goes away. So that's kind of how you like, quote unquote, again, unpin the members of the truss. So hope that's helpful. You know, like I said, I was like looking for this and couldn't find this information anywhere online, at least on the YouTube videos that I was looking for, or even you know, something with a, you know, quick like Google or AI search. So just kind of in some ways realized this by accident. You know, oh, and the other thing, like if you look at just real quick, you can see I didn't have anything here because it was kind of small. This is kind of enlarged a little bit, but you can, you know, now that that's unpinned, you can, you know, delete them as well if you need to be. If it's kind of like in this case, it's, you know, pretty small. Maybe there ends up being one there, but, you know, again, I'm showing these diagrammatically, you know, or just I'll call it representationally. I don't know if it's a real word, but it's not the real actual truss because my structural engineer is not providing that information. It's going to be coming from a truss manufacturer. But again, I wanted to show this actually, and in case I missed this at the in case I kind of went over this in the very beginning, is I wanted to show this representationally in a roof plan. And I really apologize because I don't think I showed this in the beginning, but this is really what I wanted to show, you know, raised heel roof truss. I have an annotation for this and everything, but I really wanted to show this like this in sections because I will have some wall sections, details, etc., where I wanted to kind of wanted to show this rather than kind of, let's say, faking it, where if I have multiple wall sections, I'm gonna have to do it multiple times. So I just wanted to model this so it's shown everywhere. You know, so again, hope this helps. And if you have any like questions related to this, feel free to comment below. Do the like, do the subscribe, and all that. You know, like I said, with the questions, or if you have any comments, maybe I'm doing this wrong. You know, I can't find the information, so I wanted to put this out here, but maybe I'm doing this wrong. So tell me if I'm doing it wrong or if there's an easier way. Put it in the comments below. Let me know. All right. Until next time, everyone. Rich the Architect signing off. See ya.